Right. So, you send over these research notes. And I got to admit, when I saw Moore's Law, Brooks' Law, I kind of thought, oh boy, this is going to be a lot.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to uncover some really cool practical insights here.
It is. It's a fast-moving field.
Yeah.
And really, even if you're not a coder yourself, like how AI is changing how we make software is relevant to everybody.
Okay, so we've got these laws that are kind of like the all-star team of software engineering principles.
Right.
Let's start with Moore's Law computing power, doubling every 2 years. That's been like the heartbeat of so much innovation.
Right.
Is AI messing with that rhythm?
Well, it's interesting because while traditional chips are kind of like maybe hitting a ceiling,
Okay.
the hardware that AI runs on is evolving at an even crazier pace. So it's almost like these specialized chips, GPUs, TPUs are becoming the new heartbeat of the digital age. And they might even surpass Moore's Law as we knew it.
So Moore's Law on a rocket ship.
Yeah, exactly.
But more power doesn't automatically mean better software, right? Q Brooks's Law, adding people to a late project just makes it later. That's the nightmare I think we've all lived through in some form.
Exactly. Brooks's Law speaks to the human side of software development, the communication breakdowns, the tangled dependencies, and AI is starting to change that. So think about GitHub Copilot. It's almost like having a coding buddy that can write the tedious stuff, generate documentation, even help you debug. Suddenly you're not drowning in tasks. You're free to think strategically.
So instead of more manpower, it's like giving each developer an AI assistant.
Yeah.
Is this actually happening out in the real world?
Absolutely. Companies are using these AI tools to build software faster and with fewer hiccups. It's not about replacing developers.
Yeah.
It's about augmenting their abilities. So imagine a team that can ship new features every week instead of every quarter because the AI is handling the grunt work.
That's a huge advantage.
Yeah.
Look at this next one. Conway's Law might be less familiar to our listener, but it basically says the structure of your software ends up reflecting the structure of your company.
Right.
So if your company is kind of siloed, your software is going to be a bit of a mess too.
That's the gist of it. Conway's Law is about those organizational headaches that bleed into the code.
Yeah.
But imagine AI tools that can help break down those silos, almost like a universal translator for different teams and their code bases. Suddenly you're building more cohesive software, even if your company is a bit of a labyrinth.
AI is a corporate peacemaker.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, this is already bending my mind a little bit. We've got AI potentially rewriting Moore's Law, taking on Brooks' Law, and now smoothing out Conway's Law.
Yeah.
Are there any other software engineering principles about to get an AI makeover?
There are. This one is fascinating, and it applies to so many things beyond software. It's the Pareto principle or the 80-20 rule.
The 80-20 rule? Yeah, I use that all the time to prioritize my to-do list.
Right.
How does that apply to software and AI?
Think about all the time spent on those tasks that feel necessary but don't really move the needle.
Yeah.
AI has the potential to automate a huge chunk of that 80%, letting developers laser focus on the 20% that truly drives innovation.
So AI becomes your time management guru.
Exactly.
Okay, so AI can automate the boring stuff, so humans can do what humans do best, be creative, and solve the really tough problems.
Yeah.
That's a relief.
And that's leading to some interesting new principles like the law of accelerating returns.
Yeah.
The idea is that AI can actually accelerate its own development, which could lead to even faster innovation cycles in software.
Whoa, that's a mind-bending thought.
Yeah.
AI, building better AI, leading to even faster progress. Are we going to be coding in warp speed soon?
It's certainly possible, but even with all this acceleration, there's one thing that remains crucial.
Yeah.
The law of AI-human collaboration.
I like that.
The most successful systems will be those that blend human intuition with AI's power.
So it's not about humans versus machines. It's about finding that right balance. But this brings up another interesting question.
Which is?
Well, with AI taking on more of the coding, doesn't that change what it means to be a software engineer?
Yeah.
What skills will be crucial in this new world?
That's a question everyone in the field is grappling with. It's less about mastering specific programming languages and more about understanding how to work with AI systems, data science, machine learning, even AI ethics. These are becoming the must-have skills.
So it's almost like a software engineer is becoming this hybrid role, part coder, part data scientist, part philosopher.
Exactly. And maybe even a bit of a psychologist, understanding how humans and AI can best work together. The lines are definitely blurring.
Okay, I have to admit my head is spinning a little bit. We've gone from microchips to philosophy in like 10 minutes, but before we get too abstract, Can we bring it back down to earth with some real-world examples?
Yeah.
How is AI actually being used in software engineering right now?
We've already mentioned a few like GitHub Copilot, but let's talk about testing time. AI-powered tools are now automatically generating test cases, finding bugs, even predicting potential failures. It's like having a super-powered QA team working 24/7.
That's incredibly helpful, especially given how much time testing can take.
Yeah.
What else?
AI is also being used to design better software architecture. Think of tools that can analyze a massive code base and identify potential weaknesses or suggest improvements. It's like having an AI architect helping you build a more robust and efficient system.
That's fascinating. So AI isn't just writing code, it's helping us write better code.
Yeah.
Are there any other examples you want to highlight?
Oh, there are so many. One that's really exciting is the field of personalized software.
Okay.
Imagine AI systems that can tailor the user experience based on individual preferences. It could revolutionize everything from e-commerce to healthcare.
Now that's a game changer. It's
Yep.
like having a software genie that anticipates your every need.
Exactly. And finally, we can't forget about security. AI is being used to create more sophisticated security systems that can detect and even predict cyber attacks.
Okay, now that's straight out of a sci-fi movie. AI predicting cyber attacks. It's both amazing and a little bit unsettling.
It is a powerful tool.
So we've talked about a lot of exciting possibilities, but there have to be some potential downsides too, right?
Of course, no technology is without its challenges, and with AI, we need to be especially mindful of the implications.
All right, like the old saying goes, with great power.
Exactly. We'll need to think carefully about things like data privacy bias and algorithms and making sure these AI systems are used responsibly, but that's a conversation for another time.
All right, cliffhanger, I'm hooked. But before we jump into the potential downsides, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned so far. For someone who isn't a software engineer, why should they care about all of this?
Well, the software we use every day from our phones to our cars is being shaped by these changes. Understanding how AI is impacting software development can help all of us make more informed choices about the technology we use and the future we want to build.
That's a great point. It's not just about code, it's about the world we're creating with that code.
Exactly. And I think what's most exciting is that we're really just at the beginning of this journey. AI is going to continue to evolve, and who knows what incredible innovations are just around the corner.
All right, on that note,
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to take a pause and let all of this sink in. We'll be back soon to explore the potential downsides and the bigger implications of AI in software engineering. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. So before we pause, we were kind of wading into some of the potential downsides of AI and software engineering.
Right.
It's important to acknowledge those.
Yeah.
But I'm also eager to explore the flip side, like the incredible possibilities AI is unlocking.
I'm with you. I mean, we've already seen how AI can turbocharge development
Right.
and help us write better code.
Mm-hmm.
But what are some of those pinch me, I'm dreaming possibilities?
One that really gets me excited is the democratization of software development. AI tools have the potential to make coding accessible to people without a traditional computer science background.
Mm-mm.
Imagine a world where anyone with a great idea,
Yeah.
some basic coding skills, can build a website or even a mobile app.
That's a powerful thought.
Yeah.
It levels the playing field and opens up so much potential. What else?
Well, think about AI-driven systems that learn and adapt over time. We
Cool.
could see software that constantly improves,
Mm.
becoming more efficient, secure, and personalized to individual needs. It's like having a development team that never sleeps, constantly tweaking and refining the code.
That's mind-blowing. It almost makes you wonder, though, how do you even test software that's constantly learning and evolving?
Right.
Traditional testing methods would be playing catch-up, right?
You're spot on. Traditional testing relies on predictable scenarios.
Yeah.
But when you have AI in the mix, you need entirely new approaches. This is where things like machine learning testing and AI explainability become crucial. We need to understand how these AI systems are making decisions to ensure they're reliable and safe.
So it's not just about making sure the code works.
Right.
It's about understanding the AI's thought process that adds a whole new layer of complexity, given all these shifts. What does this mean for the future of software engineering as a profession?
Yeah.
What skills will be in high demand?
That's the question everyone is asking. It's less about mastering specific programming languages
Right.
and more about the ability to understand and work with AI systems. Data science, machine learning, even AI ethics are becoming the must-have skills for software engineers.
So it's becoming a hybrid role, part coder, part data scientist, part philosopher. Thinking about the ethics of AI is a pretty heavy topic.
It is, and that's a reflection of how software engineering is evolving. It's not just about technical skills anymore. It's also about understanding the human implications of the code we're creating.
So it sounds like education and training programs are going to have to adapt pretty quickly to keep up with all of this.
Absolutely. Traditional computer science programs often focus on specific programming languages and algorithms,
Yeah.
but they're not always equipping students for the reality of AI-driven development. There's a growing need to incorporate data science, machine learning, and AI ethics into the core curriculum.
Makes sense. We've been talking about the impact of AI on software engineering, but this feels much bigger than that. Is AI changing how we think about software itself?
It is traditionally we've thought of software as a set of instructions for a computer.
Right.
But with AI, we're starting to see software that's more like a partner,
Mm.
a collaborator that learns, adapts, and makes decisions. It's a fundamental shift in how we understand what software is and what it can do.
It's almost like we're moving from software as a tool to software as an intelligent agent.
Yeah.
It's a pretty radical concept. Are there any real-world examples of this happening right now?
Oh, definitely think about those recommendation algorithms that seem to know your taste better than you do. Or those chatbots that are getting eerily good at mimicking human conversation. We're interacting with AI-powered software every day, and it's
Okay.
only going to become more sophisticated.
Okay, my mind is officially blown.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground, from rewriting classic laws to redefining software itself. But before we go any further, I think it's time to bring it back to our listener
Yeah.
and connect all of this to their world. What does it all mean for someone who's not a software engineer?
That's a great question. The impact of AI on software engineering reaches far beyond the tech industry. The software we use every day is being shaped by these changes. Understanding this can help us make informed choices about the technology we use and the future we want to create.
I love that it's about empowering ourselves to be informed citizens in this increasingly tech-driven world.
All right.
So where do we go from here? What's the next step on this deep dive?
Well, we've talked about how AI is changing the game.
Yeah.
But what about the players? What does this mean for the future of work? For the skills people will need to thrive in this AI-powered world? That's where things get really interesting.
All right, I'm ready for more. Let's dive into the future of work and see how AI is reshaping the landscape. Welcome back to the deep dive. So, we've been talking about all these mind-blowing ways AI is changing software engineering, but I keep coming back to one thought. It's like we're not just building software anymore. We're teaching machines to build it for us. I mean, that's a pretty radical shift, right?
It is. It makes you wonder what happens to the human element in all of this. What does the future of work look like when machines are becoming such capable coders?
Exactly. Are we all going to be out of a job? Should we be stocking up on canned goods and learning how to live off the grid?
Well, I don't think it's quite that dramatic. Throughout history, new technologies have always disrupted the job market, but they've also created new opportunities. The key is to adapt and evolve.
So instead of fearing the robot overlords, we should be figuring out how to work alongside them.
Right.
But what does that actually look like? What kind of jobs will exist in this AI-powered world?
Well, one thing's for sure, we'll need people who can bridge the gap between humans and machines. Think of them as AI whisperers, folks who can translate business needs into something an AI system can understand.
So like AI interpreters, making sure the humans and machines are on the same page.
Exactly. We'll need people who can evaluate the performance of AI systems, troubleshoot problems, identify biases, and ensure these systems are being used ethically.
It sounds like those so-called soft skills we always hear about: communication, critical thinking, problem solving, are going to be more valuable than ever.
Absolutely. In a world where AI can automate many of the technical tasks, it's those human skills that will set us apart. And let's not forget creativity. While AI can generate code and solve problems, it still struggles with truly original thinking, with coming up with innovative solutions. That's where humans will continue to shine.
So the future of work isn't about being replaced by AI. It's about finding those areas where human ingenuity and AI capabilities can kind of complement each other.
Yeah.
It's a collaboration, not a competition.
Precisely. And this collaboration extends beyond just the workplace. We're already seeing AI being used in healthcare, education, transportation, so many other fields. The key is to use this technology responsibly and ethically to ensure it benefits everyone.
That's such an important point. It's not enough to just develop powerful AI systems.
Yeah.
We need to have those tough conversations about the societal impact, the ethical implications, the unintended consequences we need to make sure we're building a future we can all be proud of.
I couldn't agree more, and that's what makes this such an exciting time to be alive. We're not just passive observers of this technological change. We have the power to shape the future of AI and determine how it impacts our lives.
That's an incredibly empowering thought. So to bring it all back to the beginning, how is AI changing the world of software engineering?
It's changing everything. It's rewriting the rules, blurring the lines, and pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible, but it's also creating incredible opportunities for innovation, collaboration, and human ingenuity.
Well said. I think that's the perfect note to end on. We've covered so much ground in this deep dive, but ultimately the message is clear. AI is here to stay. It's up to us to decide how we want to shape its future. Thanks for joining us on this journey. We'll see you next time on the Deep Dive.